Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and it's time for that live stream show. That's right, y'all. It is time for our Sunday night live show, Off the Hook with Captain Hubbard. Hopefully, you're ready for a great show. Hopefully, you're excited. We got a lot to talk about tonight, a lot of good stuff going on, a lot of good stuff coming up, and we've got a lot of photos to show you as well. So hopefully everybody's excited for a great show tonight. We actually have some good news weather-wise for a change, and definitely a lot of happy fishing going on. So let's get right into it. First things first, want to make sure we give a shout out to our friends over there at Gator Jim's Tackle for making this show possible. We appreciate our friends over at Gator Jim's Tackle. Make sure you stop by and say hello. 3301 Pinellas Point Drive, South in St. Pete. Make sure you stop by and see our friends over there at Gator Gyms and tell them we said hello at Hubbard's Marina and you said hello as well. Also, make sure you stop by our supporters group if you're interested. The supporters group is a great way to get some more behind the scenes access. It's only $4.99 a month. And you get private access to our private supporters group. It's a huge way to help fuel the live show and make things possible for us. And then also want to give a special shout out to those sending stars. The stars are a huge way to help fuel the show too and helps continue to drive us to success. So we super appreciate all the support and those sending stars for sure. It is always appreciated. Now, let's make sure we give some shout outs to those sending stars so far. We had Larry White with a big 500 stars. Nick Nieves with 1,200. Thank you, my friend. Richard Blazak, what's up, buddy? Lee Willis, LaShonda Brown. Jasmine Marie. Scott Flynn with a big 500. Kaylee Floyd, what's going on with the 310. Gary Camage. Frank Pender, Ryan Kelly, Tony Barnes with a big 500. Shout out to Tony and his special gift today. Tony brought me a package of Boonans. So big shout out to Tony. Thank you so much. And his better half who came to Bass Pro to visit today. Also Jeff Reedy with a big 1,200 stars. Appreciate you guys so much. And always appreciate the support. And it really helps to continue to do cool stuff with our live stream show. And of course, our friends over there at Gator Jim's Tackle too, a huge help as well. So with that, let's get into some of the photos and we'll show you guys what we're catching. Then after the photos, we're going to get into some of the weather, talk about a little bit about what's going on weather-wise. And then after that, we're going to get into some of your questions. So if you do have a question that you want answered live during the show, make sure you leave a text to that phone number at the bottom of the screen. Also, if you've never seen the show before, maybe this is your first time, if you want a chance to win some of the free stuff, we're going to give away a 5-hour half day for 2 guests, a 10-hour all day for 2 guests, and we're going to give away, of course, a 5-hour half day for 2 guests, 10-hour all day for 2 guests, a Hubbard's Marina swag pack, and a 39-hour fishing trip for 1 lucky winner. So make sure you comment at least one time for a chance to win. So you have to comment on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page, at least one thing, anything you want, hello, where you're watching from, whatever. One comment gets you entered to win. Then you must watch the show live. You can't just pop in halfway through the show. The random Facebook name picker will only pick the names who hopped into the live show in the beginning. So you got to watch the beginning of the show, comment the first couple minutes or so, comment one time, and that enters you for a chance to win. Then you got to watch live. If you pop in halfway through the show, 20 minutes into the show, you won't be eligible to win. So make sure you comment at least once early on in the show to prove you're watching early, and then you must continue to watch live, because if you're picked as one of those lucky winners, you got 5 minutes or less to text us at the phone number at the bottom of the screen to prove you're watching live. So that's how it works. Hopefully you're excited to potentially win some free stuff tonight, and hopefully you're excited for the show as well. So thanks for tuning in and joining us. With that, we'll get rolling right into the photos and show you guys what we are catching inshore first. Then we're going to work our way near shore and offshore. So inshore right now, flounder bite is picking up a little bit, starting to cool off, and those flounders start cruising into the back protected bay waters and pass, and they get a little bit heavier in the area right now. And the reason for that is they're starting to gear up and get fattened up for their near shore spawn. So this is pretty typical this time of year. Flounder bite really starts to pick up. We start to see some really nice flounder action. Also, Jack Crevalle, we're seeing more and more of those Jack Crevalle around the area. Sometimes we're seeing those schools move around the back protected bay waters, the islands of Johns Pass, and sometimes even in and around the pass. Redfish bite has been crazy. Really, really, really good redfish action throughout the entire area. So many redfish being caught around the pass, on the beach, around the docks, around the islands, around the oyster bars, grass flats, virtually everywhere. Captain Mike sent us a bunch of photos from his recent charters. A lot of big redfish they were catching, just absolutely destroying endless numbers of redfish, catch and release. And we're still seeing some sharks around. The snook bite has slowed down a little bit, but there's still a handful around. Definitely getting a little less prolific snook-wise around the pass. We're starting to see a lot of those snook slide back into the back protected bay waters and starting to get more into that wintertime pattern where they start to recede to those river mouse and creek mouse. And with that, we're seeing a lot of those tarpon too. The tarpon are tucked in the back. We're still seeing some late season tarpon out around the Bay Area bridges, but a lot of those tarpon have really receded back. Those residential tarpon that are going to hang around. Also, the trout bite has been going pretty good. We're starting to see more and more trout around the area, and it should continue to get a little bit more aggressive. As water temperatures cool down, those trout slide a little bit shallower, and they get more aggressive and a little bit more active as well. So pretty interesting time of year inshore-wise, where we see the sheep's head really pick up, and we still see some mangrove snapper around. And we see a lot of redfish and a good bite of redfish, and then still finding some snook. You just got to work a little bit harder to find them, retreat back into that back protected bay waters a little bit. So with that, let's move near shore and offshore and show you guys what we're catching a little bit deeper. Right now, focused on those gag grouper, doing pretty well on the gag grouper action. Seeing a lot of the gag grouper out deep on our 39 hours, 12-hour streams, but we're getting some of them there near shore on our private fishing charters as well. Seeing a lot of good gag grouper action. Remember, we have one more 39-hour trip for gags on Tuesday. We're going to try to get out there a few times on the Flying Hub 2 as well. So we still got a few more days to go get plenty of the gag grouper, but once the gag grouper close, we still got tons more fish to catch. We've got scamp grouper, strawberry grouper, mangrove snapper, mutton snapper, yellowtail snapper, porgies, vermilions, and so much more. Of course, hogfish as well. We've got red hind, rock hinds, just so many fish to catch out there. Lane snapper. The hogfish bite has really picked up near shore. We're seeing a lot of the hogfish while we're hunting around on those 10-hour all days, private fishing charters, 5-hour half days, all seeing the hogfish action. And really, really doing well on the hogfish. So we're excited, and hopefully we're going to continue to catch more and more of these hogfish as that water temperature continues to cool. They get more and more aggressive and more concentrated. We're also seeing some good mangrove snapper. Here's a pretty good size mangrove snapper for a 10-hour all day. And we're catching a lot of those mangroves on our 10-hour, and we're seeing even more lane snapper and some nice hogfish. Getting plenty of vermilions, porgies, some big mutton snapper. Look at the size of that mutton snapper. So lots of good numbers of fish and varieties of fish as well. We're not just seeing the mangrove snapper. So we've got triggerfish, we've got yellowtails, we've got muttons, we've got porgies, vermilions, almacos. Just so many fish to get out there and go catch even once the gag grouper closes. So on top of that, too, we're looking really, really, really good as far as weather-wise coming up, too. So we got lots of weather to talk about, too. We were looking at a little bit more bumpy conditions as we move into this weekend, but now it's looking really good weather-wise. So let's take a peek at the weather and show you guys what we're looking at weather-wise. So first things first, we're going to hop on over to the Hubbard's Marina website page. And first things first, you see on our new website page is a little pop-up, little reminder. We've got our 2024 calendar already out, already ready to mail to your house. So you could buy your 2024 calendar right from the website there. Got a lot of cool photos. You can stop by the shop, pick it up in person, or you can buy it online. Remember, if you're in our regulars club, you can come by and pick one up for free. But under fishing trips, scroll down here to the weather links page, that second option. We're going to start out there let's start on the 5 and 10 hour wind finder forecast. So this first one, 5 and 10 hour wind finder forecast area. Let's see here. Look at that. So it changed a little bit again. This morning it was looking flat calm this upcoming weekend. But it is better than it was Friday and Saturday. It was showing some pretty heavy weather Thursday the 19th, Friday the 20th, and all the way through this weekend. Now it's showing a really nice day Wednesday, Thursday, and really Friday too. So some good weather coming up here. Still going to be pretty breezy and bumpy tomorrow, and it's going to be chilly. Look at that temperature. Today was 79 this morning, 73 this afternoon. Tomorrow's going to be 70 in the morning, 68 in the afternoon and night. So it's going to be pretty cold for us. Look at that. Tuesday, 68 in the morning. Wednesday, 66. So that water temperature is going to get low and stay pretty low this week, which is going to mean coastal waters, waking up in the morning, going out in the boat. It's going to be pretty chilly, so be prepared for that. But some nice weather all the way through Friday. On Saturday, it potentially might pick up a little bit, but not too much. So really looks like a great little stretch of weather starting around Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday midday-ish. So Tuesday's 10 hours already canceled because we're trying to sneak in that last 39-hour trip. We do have a 5-hour half-day Tuesday, which I think can go, but fishing's probably going to be pretty tough. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday looks great. So if you're trying to get out there and go fishing, I would strongly suggest thinking about Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in between these little weather patterns that we have coming and going around our area right now. So that looks best. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Definitely super light loads. Friday's 39-hour trip, I think, only has 17 people on it, which is enough to go, but would like a few more. So definitely a great option to go flatline, and we're catching a lot of those kingfish. We're starting to see a lot of those blackfin tuna. You have a chance for some of those mahi. We got a lot of yellowtail, a lot of mutton, a lot of mangrove snapper to go catch, porgies, vermilions, almacos, and more. So Friday's 39-hour trip, bringing some light tackle, doing some of that slow pitch jigging, would be a really, really great option this upcoming Friday on the 39-hour. We also have Thursday's 10-hour trip, only has 29 people on it, so a pretty light load there. And lots of great opportunities to go out there and catch them up for sure. So I would suggest that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and capitalize on that good weather window. So let's see here. Tuesday trip is not full. It is canceled. So Tuesday's 5-hour has plenty of room. Tuesday's 10-hour is canceled. Tuesday's 39-hour has one spot. But yeah, getting pretty full in the 39-hour. All right, with that, let's pop on over and do our first live giveaway of the night. We're going to give away our, 10-hour all-day trip first. 10-hour all-day trip first. Let's see who the lucky winner is of that 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. Christine, congratulations from Newport Richey. Congratulations, Christine and Pete. We appreciate you guys, supporters and long-time regular guests, and somewhat local in Newport Richey. I guess they are local, but Newport Richey, pretty far away, but somewhat local. Local adjacent. They do come to Final Friday every month, so that makes them local, right? Hopefully you'll make it to Final Friday this month. We have a great Final Friday lined up for you. We've got a John's Pass Wide trick-or-treat event. There's a costume contest. There's a chili cook-off event. There's crawfish boil. There's free beer. There's free soda, free water. There's a John's Pass Wide pub crawl. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. This month's Final Friday event is something you do not want to miss. So hopefully we'll see you October 27th. So that's not this Friday coming up. That's the next Friday. So about a week and a half, 2 weeks from now, we're excited. Is that 2 weeks from now? I'm going to call it 2 weeks from now. Maybe a week and 3/4. We're excited for that Final Friday event. It's going to be absolutely spectacular. Tons of fun and a really good time for sure. The last Final Friday, the last October Final Friday, so October of 2023 is really what inspired us to get into this whole Final Friday fiasco and really to dive deep into it. We saw how great October's Final Friday was last year and how many people showed up, and that's what inspired us to start doing this crawfish boil. It all kicked off November of last year following the crazy awesome October event. We had so many people walking around, so many costumes, great trick-or-treating event. So hopefully we're going to see you this coming Final Friday, October 27th, because you don't want to miss out for sure. All right, with that, let's go ahead and, want to make sure we have the chili cook-off reminder as well. We will be giving away $300 in free trip fare for first place. I believe second place is like what, $150, right, Josh? 100 for second place, and there's a third place prize as well. I think it's like a Hubbard's Marina swag pack, right? Yeah. So second place. Oh, I guess I should just do this. Josh has got it pulled up for us. So we've got the chili cook-off, hubbardsmarina.com/chili. I'm sure Josh will drop the link in the chat. But the chili cook-off is happening that night at Final Friday. All you have to do is go to hubbardsmarina.com/chili. And right down here at the bottom, you can enter. It's free to enter. It's absolutely free to participate. You can win $300 in trip fare. So really, really cool opportunity. Absolutely free. All you have to do is bring chili in a slow cooker. We'll have the plug for the electricity. We're going to provide the bowls and the utensils. We are going to have a mass judging event, and the top few are going to then be judged by a panel of experts, including myself, because I'm going to eat some chili. And then we're going to pick the winners from there. So it's kind of popular demand narrows the field. Then some judges will come in and make the final say. So hopefully you will be interested in joining our chili cook-off, because you can win a lot of free stuff, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And there's absolutely no cost to you other than the cost of making the chili and then showing up with a slow cooker, which I'm sure everybody has a slow cooker that makes chili, right? That's kind of like a thing, right? So I assume so, at least. I don't know. That's how I make chili. Maybe that's a bad assumption. But we will provide the power and all the utensils and all the napkins and bowls and all that. You just have to bring your chili in a slow cooker, and we'll take it from there. So join us. And in order to join us for the chili cook-off, you do have to sign up on that page, because we want name and information of everybody who's going to be involved, so we know prior to signing up or prior to showing up how many slow cookers we need to plug in and how much power we need, etc., etc., etc. So make sure you sign up if you're interested in the chili cook-off and you want to win $300, because it's going to be fun, and I'm excited to eat some chili. So let's see here. We talked about weather. We talked about what we're catching now. We gave away our first free trip of the night. I think it's time for some questions, huh, Josh? All right, so questions it is. Is there a size where you don't remove tarpon from the water? Yes. I want to say it's 40 inches, but you're really not supposed to remove tarpon from the water, period. So I believe it's 40 inches, though. But Josh is pulling it up as we get settled in here. But definitely don't want to try to remove tarpon from the water. But we've got a caller here, and he might be able to answer this one for us. So we can always punt this question, because it is an inshore question, to Capt Mike. What's up, buddy? Capt Mike, you there? Testing. Capt Mike, you on the phone? Well, Josh is going to get Capt Mike on the phone, but I believe it's 40 inches or less. You have to have the tarpon 40 inches or less in order to take it out of the water. But in all reality, you really don't want to remove the tarpon from the water, if at all possible. So that's the goal, but potentially you might have to. What's up, Mike?
Hey, what's up, my brother?
We got you, man. You're live on the show. This time we called you.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Hey, so ironically, you called while we had an inshore chart or an inshore fishing rules question, and the question was, what size does the tarpon have to be? Isn't there like a tarpon under this size you can take out of the water for a photo or something? 40 inches, right?
Well, that's a good. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know what the question is. I don't know what the answer to that is, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there is one. It makes sense that there would be.
Yeah. But I know you're not supposed
I've
to.
always. Well, and a reason for that is because 120-pound fish or 130-pound fish,
Mm-hmm.
you can't support its insides correctly. So everybody holds them up, by the jaw.
Yeah.
And then their insides get all messed up. They're not made to be straight up and down like that. So,
Yeah.
Smaller fish, 25-pounders, 30-pounders, 20-pounders, 10-pounders, little guys, you can support their belly a little bit. So it would make sense that there is a rule, but if I'm being honest, I don't know what it is. I don't know. And for the most part, even the stuff that I've done in the glades, we've tried to leave the fish in the water as much as possible. Even when you lift them up a little bit to get that cool picture coming down the side of the boat. I have some of those that are some of my favorite photos.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of supporting their belly, pulling them up a little bit, but supporting their belly.
Mm-hmm.
And trying not to pull them up too vertical, still keeping them horizontal a little bit. So,
Yeah.
it's with all our fish pictures, we should be trying our best to, keep that fish as comfortable and releasable as possible, so.
Touché.
And great. It's a fantastic question, but I just honestly don't know the answer.
Yeah, I gotcha. Well, how's the inshore bite besides just redfish going off everywhere?
Other than it's been pretty solid all the way around. The trout bite's still good. Redfish bite's fantastic. The snook bite is solid. The fish are moving. They're in transition. The problem we've had here the last couple of days is obviously the wind and the weather.
Yeah.
The water got a little bit dirty with all that rain we got. Water temps have come down, and the transition mode is just kind of the mode we're in right now, and it should stay pretty good. I'll be interested to see. I thought I saw we were going to have some 55-degree weather.
Whoa.
Is that what I'm seeing?
I don't know about that. I saw some 58, I believe, was one of the temperatures
Okay,
I saw
so
when I
50,
looked.
50, even if it's 50 degrees in the morning in October, I'm super interested to see what that exactly does to our fish.
Yeah.
Because that, a night that cold this early could throw everything into hyperspace,
Tuesday. So it's showing Monday night into Tuesday morning 57. Tuesday night into Wednesday 57 on Bay News 9 7-day forecast. 40s in the north.
Back to back. Woo! Back to back nights in the 50s, mid-October.
Yeah.
That's going to be really interesting to see. I don't think we've had those type of temperatures here, in many years in October. So, and I could be wrong, but I don't think we have.
I probably not.
So it's going to be interesting to see, what that does. I mean, we could get an early push on the kingfish. That could ramp a lot of things up.
Yeah.
A lot of things. So that'll be interesting.
It will. It'll
and hopefully,
be exciting too.
And hopefully, it stays cool or at least doesn't get warm on the backside of this, pushing, 85, 88, 90 degrees again, on the backside of this, and kind of, because to me, that's one of the worst things that can happen. You get a big cool down, and then it turns around and right away and cranks it all the way back up. The fish start to move, and then everything slows back down a little bit. So,
like how Wednesday morning it'll be 57, and then by Thursday afternoon it'll be 85.
That's not great. Yeah, I don't think that's fantastic. I really don't. That gets everything kind of moving and then slows it back down a little bit. But I think, isn't there another front? There's another front coming right past that, isn't there?
Well, no. The weather that we talked about Saturday, that's coming potentially the second half, basically into the weekend coming up, is not a front. It's more of like a tropical disturbance kind of deal. And it was forecasted to be pretty serious. Now it's kind of weakening. This morning it was showing completely gone, missing our area completely. Now it's kind of coming back a little bit, kind of moderately. But long story short, it won't really cool things off because it's more of just rain and cloud cover.
Well, and even cloud cover and rain will keep things cool. If that water temp dips, and then you have cloud cover and rain, it's not going to raise it any.
Yeah.
Or it shouldn't raise it much if it does at all. So again, I'm anxious to see, and I don't know what that's going to do. I think it'll just kind of push them, like when the toddler's walking across the room and you just want them to skedaddle a little bit. You pat them on the butt, get them going a little bit. I think that's what's going to happen to these snook. They're going to start to.
So the weather is going to paddle the snook on the butt.
Little paddle on the tush. Move along. Here we go.
Some of the analogies you use sometimes really throw me for a loop. I like it.
It's all good, buddy. It's all good. Years and years of doing this. Got to come up with different ways of looking at it.
Yeah.
But it's really good. I'll tell you this. I mean, if I'm talking to people and it's, hey, what would you be looking forward to doing personally if you were going fishing over the next week and a half, 2 weeks? I would be throwing artificials.
Right.
I'd be throwing a lot of artificials because those fish are going to get super active with that cool down. They know what's coming. They know winter is coming. I'd be throwing top waters a bunch, especially around some of the residential canals, around the mouths of the rivers, maybe up the rivers even just a little bit. Those fish are going to be feeding really aggressively, and you can get some absolutely great top water action going this time of year when that water cools down. They're headed towards what they know is going to be a little bit leaner menu time for them. They tend to eat really well. So I would be throwing a lot of artificials right now, and it's a great time of year to do that. Fantastic.
That's awesome. All right. So one other question I have for you. This got asked to me today at Bass Pro Shops, and I think I answered it pretty well, but we'll let you dive into it and give us a better answer, and so I know how to better answer it next time. Is someone asked, so with the redfish so schooled up right now and kind of being peak redfish time, how would someone who doesn't know a lot about redfish get in their boat and find a school of redfish?
Well, that is a good question. I'll tell you what's worked for me here just in the last couple of weeks, because we've had some good numbers of schools. I wouldn't say it's crazy good, but we got a decent push of fish. But so word travels through the guides pretty quick. Okay, there's a school over here, there's a school over there. But it's not like, okay, well, there's a school on this flat, you go to this pothole, and there they are.
Yeah.
You still have to go to that flat, and you have to find them on that particular tide.
Mm-hmm.
The very best way to do that, and I know it sounds, and this may be the way you answered it, but it's worked for the 25 years, 27 years I've been fishing professionally, and that's to find those big mullet.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is they hear lots of guys will tell you, find the mullet, find the mullet, find the mullet. Well, they just see any old mullet jumping, and they think, hey, this is, there's mullet right there. Well, there is mullet right there, but a 6-inch mullet and a 30-inch redfish are not friends. They don't hang out together. They're not at the same party. They're not at the same nightclub. Right, exactly. So you got to find, when that mullet comes out of the water, you need to go, wow, did you see the size of that mullet? And that's really the key, what I've been keyed into here the last couple of weeks, at finding those schools, even day to day, even when I know, okay, the school was here yesterday, we didn't have a crazy moon, we didn't have big tides, they shouldn't have moved too far, they're here on this flat somewhere, find that mullet school. Are the mullet way off, the edge? Are they up tight? Do we have a big tide? That's really the key way to find them. And one of the things to remember about redfish is, first of all, go slow, take your time. When you find them, a lot of times if you haven't seen them before, if you just come up on them and boom, there they are. A lot of times where you found them is where they wanted to be, and they will push off. You have to be patient and let those fish, a lot of times, especially with the, incredible technology of the power pole down, or put an anchor down, whatever you're doing, but sit and wait. Yeah. Those fish were in that spot that you found them for a reason. It's probably where they wanted to be, and you moved them. A lot of times they will come back. Give it 10, 15 minutes. Let those fish run off. Now you haven't chased them, and they'll settle down and come back. A lot of times the big mistake guys make is they're like, oh, there they are. They went that way. And then they start to chase them. Well, now you won't get that school to settle down. You may pick one or two off the edge that just happen to eat a bait.
Yeah.
But if you want to catch them in big numbers, you need to let those fish settle down, come back to you, and get to where they were comfortable. If you can get them where they were comfortable and fish them there, you'll catch, 20 fish instead of catching 2. So that's really a big key to red fishing in general.
That's awesome. Yeah, never chase the fish. That's the same rule with pretty much anything, right? I mean, tarpon.
It's, one of my very favorite sayings in all the seminars through all the years I've been doing it is fish do not eat out their butt. Okay? So don't be chasing them and throwing bait at their butt.
That seems
they don't eat out
logical.
Their butt. They eat out their face. Yeah, it does, but you'd be surprised, especially during tarpon season.
Yeah.
I see guys chasing schools up and down the beaches, out there Bean Point all the time, and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me, dude. I don't even know what you're thinking. Like, you're throwing the lines over their back. Yeah. You're throwing over their back and throwing at their butt. I mean, I just don't, those fish want to, I remember, and every time I say that and tell that little piece of advice, I think of a day that I showed up out of Bean Point. There was 3 or 4 captains pushing a school, and they happened to be pushing them right towards me. And I literally looked at my people and went, watch this. And we threw 3 crabs out, and all 3 crabs got 8. And I didn't do anything. I just showed up out there, saw the school coming at me. There 3 or 4 captains pushing them my way. And I'm like, this is perfect. They're going to come right at us. The baits are going to be in their face, and they're going to eat. And that's exactly what happened. And I'm like,
all we can do.
You guys deserve that. Do not chase those fish. Go slow, be patient. And it's hard to do. And I've said this for years too. I understand it. I get it. Because, I'm out there every day. It's a little easier for me to be patient. I was just on a school of redfish yesterday.
Yeah.
The weekend guy or the rec guy who only gets out there Tuesday and Wednesday, or maybe only gets to go on Wednesday, he's been dreaming about a school of redfish. So when he sees that big school of redfish, he gets pretty fired up. He wants to chase them down, and he wants to catch them. And I understand it. But that thought process will be the thing that holds you back from having that magical day where you pull, 20, 30-inch redfish out of a school, because they just don't like to be pushed around. Put your power poles down, sit, put some chummies out, and just let them come back to you. They'll come back. And when they get back and get happy, you can catch them really good.
There it is. Well, great info and some awesome little sayings. We appreciate it, brother.
Always good, my friend. Always good to talk to you. I appreciate you, and we'll holler at you next week.
All right, man. Thanks, buddy.
All right, partner. Be good, pal. See you.
Always great to hear from our friend Capt Mike. Hey, guys, if you're experiencing stream issues, please stop complaining in the comments. Just leave the stream and join another platform. We're streaming on TikTok, we're streaming on Instagram, we're streaming on Trovo, we're streaming on Twitch. If you're having problems on Facebook, find another stream. There's multiple other pages, multiple other platforms, and I apologize you're having issues, but on our end, everything's working great. We have a really strong stream tonight. We have over 350 people watching, so it's not freezing for everybody. So I apologize some people are having streams, but we're trying to focus. We're trying to have a positive, good night and good comments. So please, if you're having issues, let's focus on fixing those issues and not complaining in the comments. I would appreciate it. And then also, switch over to YouTube. it probably is going to work better for you. Or switch over to Twitch or Trovo. We have a lot of different platforms that are probably going to work better. So if you're having problems every week, we aren't. It might be on your end, and it might be something you want to try to troubleshoot by maybe switching platforms. Just an option. Might help you out. Who knows? Let's keep on moving, and I think it's time to give away something else. Let's do a 5-hour half day for 2 guests. 5-hour half day for 2 guests. Let's see who the lucky winner is of that 5-hour half day trip. Lucky winner is Craig Batchelor from Liburn, GA, Georgia. Congratulations, Craig Batchelor. We appreciate you. All right, so let's see here. The comments about Mike's sayings are hilarious. Right in the soup cooler for the bunny huggers. He does say that a lot, too. That is hilarious. All right. Can you troll for gags along the channel at the edge drop-off? Yes, you definitely can. People do a lot of trolling for gags. Around 60-pound braided line, big spinning reel, or a light conventional reel. And then right around maybe 50 pounds, 50-pound fluorocarbon, maybe 60-pound fluorocarbon. And one of those lipped plugs is a great option. So I would probably say a Mirror Lure 25 plus, maybe one of the Rapala, probably not a Magnum, but you could do like a Rapala 20 or 25 is a good option. There's the Yozuri Crystal Minnows are a really good option too, but the 25 plus by Mirror Lure is probably one of our favorite gag grouper trolling lures. It doesn't work as well offshore because you can't troll it super fast for like say behind a 39-hour boat. It's moving a little too fast often to troll that Mirror Lure 25 plus. That's when we use more of the Nomad DTX Minnow or the Rapala Magnum 30 or 40. But the 25 plus trolling definitely works really, really well for us in the bay for gag grouper. So, oh, great. Some people commented that they switched over to YouTube and it's working great. They don't have problems. So that's awesome. You can always watch anywhere you want. You just have to comment one time on the Facebook stream. So if you're having problems on Facebook, comment once and then get out of Facebook and watch on YouTube. And if that works better for you, that's even awesome. That's even better to hear. We can still see your comments. You can still text in your questions. You can still win the free trips. Remember, you have to comment once on Facebook, but then you can watch live on Trovo, on Twitch, on YouTube, and still participate in the show, still win free trips, and still have a great time doing it. If YouTube works better for you, great. Sometimes Facebook just stinks, especially in certain areas. I don't know why that is, but I do have problems occasionally on Facebook. I don't know why. All right. So let's get into the next question. When is a good time to fish around John's Pass, and is live pinfish the key? So it really depends on what you want to catch. This time of year, I would say sheep's head is probably the best thing to catch around Hubbard's Marina, especially probably tomorrow when it's still going to be blowing. It's going to be rough. We canceled trips because of cold fronts. Using some small pieces of shrimp or a fiddler crab on one of those dock pilings, you're going to have a great chance for catching some nice sheep's head. Then as it kind of calms down a little bit, water clears up a little bit, definitely a live shrimp on the bottom for those redfish would be a good idea. Not so many snook around right now, and the mangrove snapper have kind of faded away in the summer. We got tons of mangrove snapper around and snook in the early morning and overnight. Tarpon in the late spring all the way through the summer into early fall. So it just depends on the time of year as far as like when is the best time to fish around the pass, around Hubbard's Marina. It kind of depends on what you want to catch because it changes throughout the year. But right now, near shore, it's all about the hogfish, lanes, and mangroves. Offshore, we're really focused on those gags until they close, then really focused on yellowtails, mangroves, muttons. We're seeing a lot of those scamp grouper, triggerfish, almacos, porgies. There's just so many fish to catch, plus tons of those heads and tails, and the pelagics are picking up too. How is snook fishing around mid-December in the Clearwater, Tampa area? So snook get a little bit tricky in Johns Pass and around Johns Pass in December and January. They're almost nowhere to be seen. They move to the back bay. So snook in December around our area, you'd want to almost be fishing around that KOA campground, up in Long Bayou, back in one of those creeks or rivers to get further up there away from the bay where it's a little bit shallower. The bay mud is dark and black, and it's radiating that heat from the sun in the late afternoon. That's really where the snook kind of hang out. They get in the back for sure. So one of our faithful viewers, Mike Brittis, looked up the tarpon thing. It is 40 inches. He Googled it while we were watching. Tarpon over 40 inches must remain in the water. Tarpon under 40 inches you can pull out of the water. But a good rule of thumb is just to avoid doing it if at all possible. So let's see here. What other questions do we have? How does it look for Tuesday? Is the extreme gonna go? Weather has not been great. It's going to be blowing out of the north all day tomorrow. It's going to calm down a little bit Tuesday, but I don't think it's going to calm down enough. But I wouldn't freak out yet because we're going to look hard at that tomorrow morning and make some decisions, try to see if we can't sneak it in there. But I don't know. Doesn't look too good right now, to be honest with you, though. Is there any place to park that doesn't cost a car payment? Yes, book a trip with us. And it's only $7 for the whole day inside Johns Pass. The cheapest parking around Johns Pass and Madeira Beach is when you book a trip with us. Because it's $7 all-day parking. If you don't, it is very expensive around Johns Pass, Madeira Beach, and any beach municipality to park. I went to the beach the other day and walked on the beach for 3 hours. I was on the beach for 3 hours. It cost me $8.50 to park. And that was like a empty parking lot, one of the small beach entrances. In Johns Pass, it's like $30 in one of the lots just to park for an hour. It's crazy. It's $30 no matter how long you're there. So the garage is a little cheaper, but it's like $10 just to pull in, and then it can get as much as $30 for the whole day in the garage, unless you're on a trip with us. If you're on a trip with us, $7 flat rate all day until midnight. So going on a trip with us is definitely the cheapest parking, period. So if you're going to go to Johns Pass and just like hang out for the day or go shopping, what I'd recommend doing is go on a dolphin cruise or a sunset cruise with free beer and wine. You book a trip with us, you get that $7 all-day parking pass, and it's going to be your cheapest parking for sure. When will gag grouper and red snapper be back in season? When I checked it states gag grouper season ends November 11th. Was it cut short? Yes. So gag grouper season next year should open September 1st, potentially. Red snapper should open June 1st next year as well. So gag grouper and red snapper will not be open together next year. Highly doubt that. Doesn't look like it in the least. So the ability to fish red grouper and gag groupers together probably won't be happening for a while, for sure. Let's see here. What other questions do we have? We've got, hopefully, some questions from you guys. Remember, if you do have a question you want answered, you do have to text us at the phone number on the screen, by the way. Let's see here. We are looking for some more questions. Let's see here. Did we answer all the questions already? Oh. Can you keep red snapper on the weekend charters? No. Unfortunately, you cannot. That is... The weekend red snapper seasons are for private recreational red snapper fishermen on private boats. So if you own your own boat and you go out there and catch a red snapper, you can keep it on the weekends through Thanksgiving. But no consideration can change hands. So if you offer to mow the lawn, if you pay for the trip, it cannot keep red snapper because that's considered a charter. And then you have to stay within state waters if the boat doesn't have a federal permit. If it does have a federal permit, it cannot keep red snapper. For the 10-hour fishing trip, I just got the rod rental, and I was wondering if you had an upgrade. I like to reel with my right hand. So all our conventional reels have the reel on the right hand. So you always reel. There's really a lot of people bring this up about how they want to reel with a certain hand. When you have a conventional reel, you reel with your right hand. If you have a spinning reel, you reel with your left hand. It doesn't matter if you're right-handed or left-handed. Doesn't matter. Reel with your right hand conventional, reel with your left hand spinning. Period. I'm right-handed. I reel with my left hand spinning, reel with my right hand conventional. That's just how it works. So that's what I would recommend you learn how to do, because then you're really versatile. You can grab any rod anywhere and fish with it. So that's all we have, unfortunately, as far as rentals are concerned, is right hand reel conventional reels. Let's see here. What other questions do we have? How often do you catch grouper on the 5-hour charter late October? So late October, the only grouper that would be open to harvest would be a scamp grouper, which we generally see deeper, and maybe a strawberry grouper, which often we see deeper as well. So not going to be often that you would catch a keeper grouper on a 5-hour half day. You're probably going to catch some short red grouper, and you might even catch a gag grouper in October on a 5-hour, but they would not be able to be kept. Is there a minimum angler or number of anglers required for the 39-hour to go out? Yes. I mean, we definitely want to try to break even. We don't want to leave the dock losing money, but for example, this Friday's trip has 17 people on it, and that's enough to go. But we would love to have a few more, if at all possible. What size planer is good for trolling in Tampa Bay? It depends on where you're trolling in Tampa Bay and what you're trolling for. But generally, a number 1 planer is what you're going to be using if you're trolling a little shallower, for sure. When are you bringing the 10-hour trips back on Tuesdays? We run 10-hour trips every single Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. The only time we don't have a 10-hour trip is on Tuesdays, this Tuesday, because weather is a little bit rough, and we were trying to sneak out that 39-hour trip, so we had to cancel a 10-hour in order to be able to fit that 39-hour in, because it has to leave the dock early. That 39 hours leaving at 10 a.m., and it's going to be coming back at midnight on Wednesday. So in order to get that 39-hour to keep gags, we had to cancel that 12-hour or that 10-hour on Tuesday. So we do 10 hours every Tuesday, except for this Tuesday. So don't worry, it'll be back next week. So not far away at all, to answer the question. What other questions might we have tonight here? Let's see here. What fishing app do you recommend to find water current and fish size limits? So the best, and tides. The best fishing app that I recommend is the Smart Fishing Tides app from Saltstrong. That's what I use every day to check the weather. Or check the tides and check the salooners and check what's going on. Definitely Smart Fishing Tide. I think it's called Smart Fishing Tides. But the Smart Fishing app from Saltstrong is definitely bad to the bone. And if you go to saltstrong.com/Hubbard, you get a special deal to become a Saltstrong member. And once you're a Saltstrong member, you have free access to the Smart Fishing Spots app, which is incredible. It gives you 3D imaging. It gives you bathymetry. It gives you radar. It gives you tides. It gives you wind. It's crazy. So the Smart Fishing Spots app is definitely the best app I've ever used. And it's completely free if you're a Saltstrong member. So you do have to pay to be a member of Saltstrong, but then you get the app for free, which in my opinion is totally worth the cost of being a member. Plus, you get tons of other perks as well. So I would recommend Saltstrong, and you can go right through that link that we posted to get a discount. And if you purchase through that link, you get all the classes that we taught with Saltstrong, how to catch grouper, how to catch snapper, red snapper, tricks. So saltstrong.com/Hubbard gets you that deal where you get all of the classes that I did with Saltstrong absolutely free, along with a year's membership. So it's like a buy one, get 4 free deal if you buy it through that link. Do you prefer double snell rigs for grouper, red snapper, or just for mangrove snapper? I prefer using a double snell rig whenever I'm using dead bait. So if I'm going to use a dead bait, I'm going to generally be using the double snell rig. If I'm using a live bait, generally going to be using a single hook rig. If the bite's really slow and the fish are picky, I might be using a single hook rig for that as well. But generally, dead bait, double snell rig, live bait, single hook rig. But for the most part, if it's a really big bait, I'm generally just going to use a single hook because I'm going for something like a grouper that's going to swallow that bait, or a shark, or a really, really big fish that it's not going to come up and nibble. But something that's going to come up and nibble at a piece of dead bait, I want a double snell rig in it. So generally, it's going to be mostly snapper species that I'm targeting when I'm using a double snell rig. But I'll even use a pretty big double snell rig if, like, say I'm using a strip of squid that I might get a big red grouper on, a red snapper, or something else like a porgy biting it or something like that. So I do use double snell rigs virtually almost all the time when using dead bait to target fish. Unless it's a really big dead bait, then generally just a single hook rig because I'm targeting a really big fish. So, good question. With that, let's give away our Hubbard's Marina swag pack. We already gave away the 10-hour all day for 2, the 5-hour half day for 2. So we're going to give away the Hubbard's Marina swag pack now. Let's see who the lucky winner is of that swag pack. Kyle Goot from Schaumburg. Congratulations. I don't know where Schaumburg is, but congratulations, Kyle. Lucky winner of our Hubbard's Marina swag pack. Remember to text us your full home address and your t-shirt size to the phone number on the screen, and we'll mail you out that Hubbard's Marina swag pack that consists of shirt, hat, and, of course, some Hubbard's Marina swag as well. Do you allow noodles on your boat rails? Unfortunately, yes, we do, but you don't need it. You really don't need it. But we do allow it. And then yellowtail snapper, they don't have a season. So they are open in season all the time. So you can come out and catch plenty of yellowtail snapper, lane snapper, mutton snapper, vermilions, porgies, almacos, and tons more, scamp, triggerfish, the rest of this year. So lots of different fish to get out there and catch for sure. So lots of great opportunities as well. So lots of ways to get out and enjoy tons of opportunities to catch plenty of fish, near shore and offshore. All right, what other questions do we have here? Salt Strong has a new app out now too. Yes, it's called the Smart Fishing Spots app. It's totally bad to the bone. Does a 39-hour trip have sleeping bunks? Yes, it does. The sleeping bunks on the 39-hour trip are going to be assigned when you make a reservation. So you have a reservation for a 39-hour trip. Not only do you get a spot to fish, but you're also going to be reserving what bunk you want to sleep in. And it's a pretty cool sleeping arrangement that works pretty well. I mean, I'm 6'7", and I sleep comfortably in that bunk. I always used to say I'm 6'7", 320, and I can sleep in the bunk fine. Doesn't work as well now, but still very large individual and sleep in the bunks comfortably. All right, what other questions do we have here? Loading. I have a busted wing. Can I... Oh, so you've got a hurt arm. Can I bring a bent butt rod to only have to reel with one arm? Unfortunately, we try to accommodate everybody, but the bent butt rods wouldn't really work too well with the way the boat is engineered and the way the rod holders work. They are not going to be able to really fit in the rod holder and be able to reel. It's not like a center console where we have flush mounted rod holders. The rod holders are kind of down on the railing. So you can't really put a rod in the rod holder and fish with it. and it makes it very difficult to feel the bite as well. So I would suggest waiting until your broken arm heals up, or you could give me a call if it's something like, for example, like a disability or something like that. We can always try to work with you and accommodate everybody we possibly can. Best bait for what will be in season this weekend, I would be fishing. If you were on the 39-hour trip this upcoming Friday, I would bring a flatlining rod, I would bring a slow pitch rod, and I would bring a light mangrove rod and kind of a medium mangrove rod. So like 30-pound, 40-pound test, and then like 40 or 50-pound test. And I'd be fishing dead cut thread fins on double snell rigs most of the trip, targeting those muttons, yellowtails, and mangroves. Maybe dropping down some small to medium pinfish, targeting mangrove snapper. We've been getting a lot of the big 6, 7, 8, 9-pound mangroves on those little 3 and 5 inch mangrove, on 3 and 5 inch pinfish. And I would drop down with lighter tackle as well, like 40-pound leader, because if you do hook a grouper and it breaks you off, no big deal. Tie a new leader on, because this weekend, gag grouper, red grouper are going to be closed. So this is the time where you get really light, really tactical, and you start to really slaughter the snapper. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Lighter tackle and a little bit more of a tactical approach for sure. Can you bring a 2-speed reel on a 10-hour trip? Definitely. I fish with my 2-speed reel 99.9% of the time when offshore bait fishing, for sure. It is overkill for a 10-hour trip. Like the Daiwa LD50 2-speed is way overkill, but it's a super light reel, so you can still use it for a half-day trip or a 10-hour trip for sure. When they decide to cut season short, are they using data for the entire Gulf? In the example, the most recent example for gags, they're not using any data to cut the season short. They did not use data in the regard that a lot of people are thinking. A lot of people are like, how did they know what we caught? They don't ask us what we caught. MRIP, the Marine Recreational Information Program, only measures on 2-month waves. And then at the end of the 2 months, it takes like another 2 months for that data to actually be available for management. So the first wave is January and February. It's not until end of April into early May does that data ever come back to managers. So there is no physical, possible, even remotely probable way that they know what was caught when it comes to gag grouper. What they did was a projection. So they look at the last 5 years, the last 10 years, the last whatever years of landings, and they know within some range of error what was caught during these seasons. And what was recently done is what's called effort compression. So they do this effort compression ratio, and it's basically what it boils down to is they made an educated guess that we were estimated to hit or exceed our quota. They closed the season down based on that. And that's federal law. They have to end overfishing. They have to prevent overfishing, and we don't want to exceed our quota. If we exceed our quota, next year we have to pay back that overage. So if there's 100 pounds of gag quota and they don't close the season early enough and we end up landing 150 pounds, next year we have to pay back that 50-pound overage. So we'd have 50% shorter season next year. And if the season's only 3.5, 4 weeks and we overfished by 50%, next week we're going to have a 2-week season. So I'm really frustrated gag grouper closed early. More than anybody, I have a lot to lose in this aspect, so don't get this wrong when I say this. But I hope that they messed up and they closed gag grouper way too early. I hope the numbers come back and we're only at 40% of our quota, meaning next year we're going to have a longer season, meaning we left fish in the water, meaning there's more fish out there to respawn, meaning that they were overcautious and they didn't need to be. That would be best case scenario. If we find out that they closed it perfectly and we didn't go over, we didn't exceed our quota, that's a good situation too, but that means next year we could pretty much bet we're going to have the same season, September 1st through November 10th, or September 1st through October 19th, or shorter. So same season or shorter next year if we meet our quota. If we exceed our quota, we're screwed. We're going to really see a short season next year. We're going to have paybacks. We're going to be under severe scrutiny. There's probably going to be lawsuits. And then on top of that, we're probably not going to be able to get any catch level increases. So really want to make sure, really closing early sucks, and it's painful, and it hurts our business, it hurts access, it hurts everyone. But in reality, it's the best case scenario, because if they prevent an overage, that means next year we can get a little bit more quota, get a little bit more season, we can get a little bit more access. All positive things. Plus, we talked about it today in the Bass Pro Shop seminar, and I don't have enough time to go into it heavily today, but if you want, you can go back and watch the Bass Pro Shop seminar today. We went into some positive things that are happening in the gag grouper fishery that are positive, that might really help the situation we're in right now. And we talked a lot about why gag groupers closed. So I mentioned it quickly now, but if you want to go back on our Facebook, on our Instagram, on our YouTube, you can watch the live stream that we did today at Bass Pro Shops. And we talked, I think about 20 minutes into the seminar, we went into gag grouper. I know it was about 20 minutes in because I commented about it, that we made it 20 minutes without a fisheries question. All right, so let's see here. What type of tackle is used to catch tuna or mahi on your trips? Generally, we're going to catch blackfin tuna trolling a Rapala X-Rat Magnum or a Nomad DTX lipped plug. Mahi, we catch trolling those lipped plugs sometimes, but we catch them trolling skirted lures most of the time on the mahi. We can also catch both on the flat line. We catch a lot of mahi on pitch rods. And then blackfin tuna, we catch flatlining quite a bit as well. Sometimes you catch blackfin tuna and mahi just dropping down and reeling up from the bottom, which is something that we've been seeing. This past week, we caught a nice mahi and some big kingfish just dropping down and reeling up baits from the bottom. So that's always a viable potential way to catch some pelagic species as well. Want to make sure we give a shout out. We had 500 stars from Dan Netto, 500 stars from our friend James McCullum. We had another couple hundred stars there from Nick Nieves, and 1,000 stars from D Beers. Also Frank Pender again, appreciate you as well. So lots of really, really, really awesome star senders tonight. We really appreciate you guys. We also really appreciate our supporters out there in our private supporters club. Remember, it's only $4.99 a month. It gives you behind-the-scenes access. It gives you more communication. It gives you access to our private supporters group. And you get to join us for our private after show. That after show starts tonight. We're going to kick off the after show at let's see here, 8:45. 8:45 is the supporters after show tonight. Next week, guys, we are going to have the live stream show next week, but I am going to be leaving for the Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council meeting that very next morning. I actually delayed my trip to the Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council meeting to make sure I'm here for this show. Sorry, Josh. But for those of you out there, I did it for you, and look forward to next week's show for sure. So hopefully you guys are ready for another episode. Next week, we're going to be, of course, talking about the upcoming Gulf Council meeting that we'll be heading to, and all the other great questions that you guys have as well. Hopefully you enjoyed the show tonight. Remember, weather looking best Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this upcoming week, and then potentially the weekend as well. Lot of stuff, a lot of irons in the fire right now, so make sure you're following the Captain Dylan Hubbard page. Make sure you're following all our Hubbard's Marina social media. Do me a favor, check out the Florida Guides Association and follow us there as well. Really working hard on the Florida Guides Association, trying to reach more people. So if you're traveling out of this area and you want to find a charter in the Keys, you want to find a charter in Destin, you want to try to find a charter on the East Coast, use Florida-Guides.com. That's our Florida Guides website, and it helps you to find guides in other areas when you're traveling around Florida and you don't know who to book with. Florida-guides.com, because you know you're going to get a great guide, someone who's respected, who's properly licensed, who's properly insured. So check out Florida-guides.com. Make sure you follow us on social media there. Just look up Florida Guides Association on Facebook, Instagram, and follow us there as well. I would appreciate it as a favor to me, for sure. Also, do me another favor. This week, tell one other person about our live stream show. I need your help to reach more people. I need each one of you to pay a little bit of a fee to watch the show. And that fee is to tell one person this week about the show. Tell them they have to join you. They have to watch it too. They would enjoy it. So find that fisherman in your life and tell them about this show and have them join you next week, please. So help us out, spread the word, and thanks for being a part of it, guys. We appreciate you, and thanks for making it possible. And don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. We hope to see you next week for another episode. Let's find out who won the 39-hour trip for one lucky winner. Lucky winner is Richard Blazak from Northport, Florida. That man needs a free 39-hour trip. Still dealing with Hurricane Ian. That's almost, that was a little more than a year ago now. And I think he just recently, in the last month or two, got his roof put back on his house from Hurricane Ian down there in Northport, Fort Myers area. So congratulations, Richard Blazak, on that 39-hour free trip. You deserve it, my friend. Hopefully, we'll see you guys next week. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. We'll see all of you supporters in about 7 minutes in our supporters after show. Y'all have a good night. Tight lines, we're out.